everybody, this is Heather Sides. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Spokane, Washington. I come to you live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time with 3 new projects to show you how I made them, to give you some new ideas, and to develop a little community here. So if you are here for the first time, welcome. I'm glad you could join us. And if you are returning, thank you for returning. Let's see what I've got for you this week. I do have 3 cards using some of our brand new products that just came out in our new 19, oh my goodness, what century is this? 2023-24 annual catalog. There are so many good things in it. I finally went through it the other night and put little tabs on every page that had stuff that I want to purchase eventually. And you know what, I should get it, hang on. Look at this, you guys. Look at all of these tabs. And these don't include the things that I've already purchased. If I've already purchased it, I took the tab off. So, yeah, and it doesn't include like new ink pads, you know, the new color stuff, because I do have those already. So this is all just like stamp sets and die sets and embossing folders and, you know, all that fun stuff. So, it's a great catalog. I really like it. I think I mentioned last week that, it's my favorite of the new catalogs over the last few years. This one, as far as my personal taste goes, this one, it just knocks the socks off the last few years' catalogs. And the last few years have had some pretty good catalogs. So if you don't have a demonstrator that you're already working with and you would like a copy of the catalog, let me know. I'm happy to send you one. You can email me at stamphappenings@gmail.com or send me a message here on Facebook and just let me know, give me your mailing address, and like I said, I'm happy to send one out to you. If you've contacted me in the last week or so and let me know that you wanted one, I have some on order. I just got notice that they are shipping, they shipped today, so I should probably have them in the next few days and then I'll be able to get them out to you. So I'm sorry it's taken as long as it is. The response to this catalog has just been overwhelming, and Stampin' Up! Is a little slower than normal in shipping right now. So, you know, that's a good problem to have. It means that there's lots of positive response to the catalog. So, as you can hear, Lucy is here with us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this camera around. We're going to do our weekly drawing. Oh, by the way, if you are new, let me tell you about the drawing. I love it when people participate in the conversation, whether you're talking to one another, talking to me, offer suggestions, ask questions, any of that. I love that because that's what's helping to build our community. And also, if you're watching this on a replay, you know, send me a message saying, hey, this hi from Delaware, or, you know, whatever, anything, any little comment, even if you're watching live, if you kind of want to sit back and not super participate in the conversation, just say hi, tell me where you're from. I love to hear where everybody's from. When you comment, your name goes into a drawing that I award the prize for the following week. So this week's prize that I'm giving out is for everybody who participated in conversation, either here on Facebook or on YouTube. And I put everybody's names in the drawing and pulled one out right before I went live tonight. So we'll turn this around, I'll award this week's prize, and then we will get going on our cards. Hang on just a second while I turn it around. Okay, now get everything lined up here. And you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to find myself on my computer monitor so that I can see all of your comments. So luckily it just came right up. Mute it so that I only have to hear myself as the words come out of my mouth and not multiple times. And so far we've got quite a few people. Hey, Kathy and Marcia, Nell, another Kathy has joined us, Nancy, Susan, let's see, John's here, Mary's here, Diane's here. lots of people, and boy, the country is well represented, isn't it? People from all over. I love that. I told you guys I need to get myself a little map of the United States, because I want to start marking all the different states that have been represented by my viewers, because I love that. I love that. I think that's so much fun. So look at this beautiful, beautiful catalog that I was talking about. Again, if you don't have a demonstrator that you're currently working with and would like a copy, just let me know. Okay, so this week's winner, I've got another packet like this. I gave this one like this out last week as well. And what it is I'll try to say it in English now. It is an assortment of paper from our Design a Daydream Designer Series paper from last year's catalog, along with some sequins that color coordinate and some of our Pool Party Grosgrain ribbon. This week's winner is Colleen Buttery Fitzgerald. Colleen has been a viewer, pretty much from the get-go when I first started doing this fun thing. So congratulations, Colleen, and I do have your address on file, so I will get this out to you. Okay, so let me get a card to work on here. I'm going to start with a pretty easy one. Now, this one uses a stamp set that we've had for a couple of years now, and I love it. It's always a huge hit. It's so fun to work with. It's got Biggest Wish, and it's got, the different fonts, and you can play with them, mix them, match them, whatever. So I really do enjoy this set. And then it also uses this amazing new DSP Designer Series paper. Let me show it to you. It's called Bright and Beautiful. Comes in 6x6 sheets. Let me show you some of the prints. There's this one and that side. Then there's this one and that side. I should put these so that they kind of go the same direction. There's this one and that side. We're using this one tonight. Then there's this one with that side. Got this one and that side. Look at these. I mean, they're just fun prints and colors, right? Got this one with that side. This one with our lemon lime twist, one of our new colors. Actually, it was a color before, and it has been brought back with that fun little print on that side. Then we have this one with our lemon lolly color, and that side. I love these polka dots. We've got this one here, and this side. We're using this one in the card that we're making in just a couple of minutes here. And let's see what else we've got here. We've got this print with this. I love this print. This one is awesome. Got this in our new Berry Burst. And I believe Berry Burst is a color that we had before and we have brought back. And then this print with these fun little stars. So you can see there's so much fun color and prints in this pack, and I really do like it. So let's get it back in the little bag here, get it put away, and then we'll get going on our card. And this card tonight, this one that we're about to do, is one where I kind of let the DSP do the work for me. I love cards like that. Makes them quick and easy. So here's the card we're going to make with its matching envelope and a little bit of sparkly on there. Kind of reminds me of a princess card, I think, in these colors. Let's go ahead and get started. Now the card base is a half of a sheet of cardstock, only it's cut lengthwise. So it's 4 1/4 by 11, and then I've scored it at 5 1/2. Some call this the hot dog fold. So I'm going to take my bone folder and just give myself a nice sharp crease there and set that aside for the moment. Get all my little pieces out of the bag. And let's do our envelope first. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I love to decorate my envelopes. And frequently what I do is I take a strip of Designer Series paper that coordinates with my card. It's 2.5 inches wide, 2.5 inches by 6 inches. Then I'm going to use my liquid glue right here and just go along the edge, remember, a little goes a long way. This is a great glue with very, very good sticking capabilities, and a little goes a very, very long way. Plus, if you use too much, it does two things. It will buckle your paper, and that just doesn't look good. And then the other thing it can do if you use too much is it kind of squishes out the sides of your paper and just makes a mess. Now, when that happens, you can get yourself an adhesive eraser. Just Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell them, but you can buy one on Amazon for a couple of bucks. And it literally, you rub it on where there's like a little glue smudge, and it comes right off. Okay, so now I'm going to take my snips, and I'm just going to trim off the extra here. Sometimes I like to stamp my envelope flaps. I've done a lot of different things to decorate them, but this is probably the one I do the most frequently because I love how it coordinates with the card so perfectly by using designer series paper that is on the card itself. So there we go, and our envelope is done. Throw away my little scraps and let's get started on this card. Okay, so for the inside of our card, let's do that first. I've got a piece of basic white cardstock. It's 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches. And then I have these two strips here. One is fresh freesia. And fresh freesia was one of our in colors that was supposed to retire this year, but it was so popular that instead of retiring it, they brought it back into our main line of colors. So that's kind of cool. And we're going to put this stripe. You know, this is long enough. We could do it down the side. Let's do it down the side. On my first one, my sample one, I did it along the bottom, but let's do it down the side to match the front of the card. So I'm just going to take my liquid glue again. I like to use the liquid glue for this because then it takes a minute or so before it gets really tacky, which means I can slide things around a little bit to make sure they're lined up exactly the way I want them. Which is kind of nice. So I'm just lining that up right there. I want to make sure that my designer series paper is centered on that little strip of fresh freesia. There we go. Perfect. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little glue here along the side of my basic white cardstock. I do like to make these strips just a little bit longer than what I actually need. That way I don't have to worry about it being just a smidge too short. I hate that when it's just a smidge too short. It's just one of those things that I'll stare at it forever and it will always bother me. So if I make it a little bit too long, I can trim it down. So now I'm going to do that, exactly that. Just like so. I should put my glasses on because, you know, it's always a good idea to be able to see what you're doing, right? Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and take my snail adhesive here. Snail is what we called it like 100 years ago. It's actually Seal Plus. We've got a regular one and we have Seal Plus. Seal Plus is a little bit more expensive, but it is a stronger adhesive, and so because of that, I do prefer to use it. Okay, so, though the regular one works very well. Okay, so we have the inside of our card done. Let's get going on the front of the card. So I've got a piece here of fresh freesia that is 5 1/4 by 4, and then I also have a strip here that is 2 inches by 5 1/4, and we're just going to glue that down just like that. So I'll put a little bit of the Seal adhesive on it, and I'm just line it up with the bottom of the card, or the bottom of the piece of fresh freesia here. I want to make sure that it's straight, so I'm kind of keeping an eye on this margin over to the left here, just to make sure that it looks like it's about the same at the top and the bottom. And now we can go ahead and just glue this onto our card. By the way, I did forget to mention that our card base is one of our new colors. It is called Bubble Bath, and it's this nice light pink. And I really, really like it because you know I'm a pink girl. Okay, so get that on there, relatively straight. Now let's get going with some of our stamping. So I have a piece here that, let's see, I can't remember what measurement I did. So this is 2 5/8 by 4 7/8. So 2 5/8 by 4 7/8. I'm going to get out my bubble bath ink, and I'm also going to get out my fresh freesia. And then what I'm going to do is I have my stamp here that says birthday on it, and I'm going to stamp birthday 4 times. I want to show you a little trick that I should have learned a long time ago, but really just figured out the other night myself. This is a very, very pale pink, and I wanted to make sure I got lots of ink on my stamp. So boy, I was really, pushing hard to make sure I got lots of ink. And then when I went to stamp it, it was really, really pale. It was like I didn't have enough ink, and I couldn't figure out the problem. What's happening, if you push too hard, then what happens is it's almost like it wipes off the stamp if you push too hard. So tap it sort of lightly, firmly but lightly, and you'll end up with more ink on there, so you do see a nice image. So I'm going to do one at the top, and then I'm going to do actually that was one at the bottom, wasn't it? And now I'm going to do one at the top. Again, we're going for relatively straight. See, relatively, not exactly, but relatively. And now I'll do the other ones kind of in the middle. Get my third image on there. Now let's get that last little birthday on there. I do like these photopolymer stamps that you can actually see where you're stamping. It's really nice. Okay, so now I'm going to clean off my stamp. Okay, I'll close that. Now I have another stamp here from the same set. This is Happy, but it's in this kind of cursive-y font. And we're just going to do it at an angle on each of the words birthday. There. Now the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to take some of our silver trim. You can buy this in a pack that has both silver and gold, and I probably have way more here than what I actually need. So let's cut this in half. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm really just I'm going to make sure this is the side I want. It is. And I'm just laying down some adhesive. And the reason for that is because then I can kind of play with my trim a little bit and it'll stay in place where I want it. Now we're going to put down some foam adhesive sheets in a minute to kind of pop this off of the card. And that'll go over that and it'll hold it even better. But this at least holds it in place while I'm playing with it. And, until I kind of figure out if I've got it laying exactly where I want it to lay and the way I want it to lay. Let's see. How's that? See? Like that. So we've just got, it almost looks like a butterfly wing, doesn't it? Now I'm going to take some of my foam adhesive sheets. You know I love my foam adhesive sheets. They come this size. That's 5 inches by 5 inches, I think. 4.5 by 4.5. And what I do is if you're cutting a big strip like this, it does work best if you use the bigger scissors like this other than your snips. Your snips will work. It just seems to cut smoother, I guess, if you use these smaller or bigger scissors. And then I'm going to cut this into a strip. Even though I could put this right here in the middle, I'm going to cut 2 strips here. That way I can spread them apart just get a little bit more coverage so that my card doesn't sag. And one strip is going to go right there. See how it's going to hold that trim in place, just like that. And then another one right here. Now, if this were much wider, I would probably want to put a third one in there so that it didn't sag in the middle. But I think it's going to be just fine like this. Okay, now, oh, you know what I forgot to do? Gosh darn it. Okay, we're going to see if I can do this. I meant to mount this on a piece of lovely lilac first, and I did forget to do that. So I'm going to slowly peel this up. Now, foam adhesive can be pretty unforgiving, so you do want to be careful not to do what I just did. So let's pull this up very, very slowly. Okay, so that one came up okay. Just going to set it somewhere where I can put it to use again in just a moment. Do this slowly. Now, just to let you know, I probably should have waited to do my silver trim until after I had mounted this on the lovely lilac, or fresh freesia cardstock. Whoops, well, maybe I still will. Just so that I didn't have some bulk in between the two sheets. Let's see, pull that up. Ooh. Okay, so got a little bit of extra paper that came up there, and I'm just going to tear that off because, you know, you don't need it there. Now, let's try this again. Okay, so let's mount. Oops, looks like I need a refill. Okay, hang on just a moment. And that is one thing about our Seal and Seal Plus is it is refillable. So you buy it with the little plastic case first, and then after that you only have to buy the refills. And they come in a little container like this, a little plastic bag, I should say. And then it's got these little, I don't know what you want to call them, like little pegs, kind of. Hey, Colleen, welcome. Funny, not all of my comments are showing up on my computer, on my monitor, but, oh, here they are. Hey, Robin, welcome. And Talina, hello. Let's see who else has joined us. Teresa's joined us. Hello, Judy, welcome. Oh, thank you, Talina. Okay, so anyway, you take these little things that stick out, these little pegs or whatever they are, and they just fit. This fits right onto them, and you just put this right back on. It pops together, and that's all there is to it. So then let's have another go at this. We're going to line this up on our fresh freesia piece. Get it relatively even. There we go. Okay, so now that we've done our practice run and I showed you how to do the twine, let's do it again. All right, so I start kind of in the middle and do like a little loopy loop. Push it down onto the adhesive that I have on there so that it stays in place. And I'm pushing it down wherever it comes across the adhesive I've put down so that it stays in place. Now let's go ahead and put our foam adhesive sheets back on. Oops, this one got a little bit stretched out in the process and I don't want it to show out the bottom, so I'm just going to trim it a little bit. This is what we call real-time stamping. I make the mistakes so you don't have to. Okay, now let's try this. Now we'll just put it on our card this way. And what I did, just so that you know, is I tried to line it up so this margin, and this margin are all about the same. Obviously, I don't care about the left side because the left side is going to be way bigger anyway because it's not intended to be in the middle. So there you have it. See how easy that card was, even making it twice, like we just did. It still went pretty quick, huh? Oh, but you know what we forgot? We forgot the best part, the sparkle. You can't have a pretty pink card without sparkle, right? So I'm taking my Take Your Pick tool, which you know is my favorite tool. If Stampin' Up! Told me I was only allowed to have one tool, this would be the one that I get. Fortunately, they're more than happy to sell me any tool I want, but it still is my favorite. So we've got a few there. Now, you know, you've heard me say before, I typically work in odd numbers just because that tends to be what appeals to the eye. So I typically would do like 5 rhinestones or 3 rhinestones. By the way, I just used the rhinestone basic jewels there. But in this case, I tried to do 5. And because there were 4 sets of Happy Birthday, 5 rhinestones actually ended up, that did look weird. So in this case, I did just the 1. Okay, I noticed how crooked my camera is. You know how that bothers me, and then I have to straighten things out and, you know, spend an hour fixing it. Okay, so there we go. Card number 1 is done. And that that features that new designer series paper, Bright and Beautiful. Bright and Beautiful? Is that what it's called? Yes, Bright and Beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to do another card. This is going to use tailor-made tags dies. This is also one we've had in the catalog for a couple of years. You know, tags are a fun way to decorate things, even if you're not using them as tags in the customary sense, you know. Yes, Talina, you need to get your stuff open and start using it. Hey, Sharon, welcome. Robin, it is the Bright and Beautiful DSP. Okay, so anyway, we're using the tailor-made tags. I'm also using the Countryside Blossoms embossing folder. The whole Countryside suite is probably one of my favorites in the catalog. Let me find it for you. I'm going to have to look it up because I had the page number wrong. Looks like page 63 maybe. Let's try page 63 because I want you to be able to see this. Okay, here we go. The stamps, if you go with the bundle, the stamps and the dies that go with them are these shapes. I don't know what you call 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 10 decagons. I don't know. Anyway, with all and then you can do these little stamped edges on them. There's the embossing folder that we're going to use tonight, and I'll show it to you in a minute. I'll open it up so you can see it. It's beautiful. And the paper pack. This paper is absolutely my favorite designer series paper in the new catalog. It's very much my style. Even though it's not pink, I want to show it to you. Okay, so I'll do what I did with the other one where I'll show you both sides. So there's this print with this side. And I have to laugh. My son and I were looking at this the other night, and I said, a lot of these, I'll call it side B, so it'll be the second side I show you. A lot of the side Bs remind me of men's boxer shorts. And I still love it anyway. Okay, so then we have this really cute one with the bunnies. And side B is that. Then you've got this one with the little birds. I don't know what kind of birds these are. I'm going to choose to say that they're little lovebirds. They probably aren't, but you know what? That's what I'm going to say. And side B. And then there's this one. I think this one's really pretty. Only Talina the other night showed me, let me see if I can find it here, an alien. If you look really, really closely and have a really open mind, you've got to have a really open mind here. Hold on, I'm going to find the alien. Oh, here we go. Okay, so right here, I'm gonna get it really close so you can see. See those little blue things? Those are its little eyes. And then it's got like this big sort of afro hair and its little mouth. So it's a little alien head. You can't unsee that. Once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. Okay, so then this is side B. Then you got this one. Look at these little foxes. Aren't they adorable? Side B. Is anyone else seeing boxer shorts here? Because I'm totally seeing boxer shorts. And then there's this one and side B. I love, love, love this paper. Okay, so I'll get it put back in the bag. Got all my little scraps here because I save my scraps. They always come in handy. Okay, I want to show you the embossing folder. Let's see if we can see the pattern up close very well. Put my hand behind it. I hope that helps. Let's see. Nope, can't see it very well with that. What if I put the, oh, there we go. That helps you to see it a little bit, I think. So isn't that just a really gorgeous pattern right there? Love it. I love everything about this set. This is just amazing. Okay. So then, I did not pull out. Here's the stamps. I was like, I know there's stamps that go with this. Good Feelings. These are the stamps we're going to use. These have also been in the catalog a couple of years. So let's get going on our card. So this is the card we're going to make. Matching envelope. And we're going to do it like that. So, and this uses some of our new ribbon with one of our new colors, boho blue. So let's get going. Our card base is your basic card. Oh no, I'm crooked again, you guys. Can't handle it. I just can't handle it. One of these days I'm going to be able to go, Heather, it's okay. It really is okay. Okay, all right. Okay, so anyway, basic card base. And hang on, I just saw a comment. Let's see. It's okay, Sharon. You can always watch the replay to see how we did the first card. I'll show it to you really quick. Well, I go through them, show them at the end too. But this was the first card that we made. And then, let's see. Oh, Colleen just pointed out that you can use the embossing folder on the paper with the little alien face, and then you have the alien face embossed. You know I'm going to have to do that now, right? Okay, so basic card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. And this is Night of Navy. This is a color that we've had for, you know what, we'd actually had this color forever. Many of you know that I used to be a demonstrator in a previous life about 15-ish years ago, 15 or more. And Night of Navy was a color that we had way back then. So Night of Navy has stood the test of time. Okay, let's do our envelope. We've got our little strip that's 2.5 inches by 6 inches, and we're just going to glue it on here really quick. Now I know on the camera it looks like I'm putting a lot of glue on because I've seen other demonstrators do this, and I think that looks like a lot of glue. But I am not lifting my applicator up off the paper, so not as much is coming out as it actually looks like. Okay, so now I lay that down. Remember, if you have directional paper, which in this case I do not, but if you have paper that, like the flowers go a certain direction, you want to make sure to check it before you glue it down so that it's going the right direction on your envelope flap. Okay, let's trim the edges here. Okay. There we go. And now our envelope is done. I love this. I think it reminds me of a China pattern. I think that's why I like it so much. Okay, Now, I've got a piece here. This is our boho blue. It's one of the new in colors. And we're just going to go ahead and mount this right onto the boho blue. Okay. I've got a tiny little margin there. I like just a little margin. It just kind of gives a finished look to me to have a margin. And we're going to mount it right onto our card. I like to mount things on there as I go so that I don't lose pieces. And also because it's just, you know, you go in so many different directions and then you have pieces everywhere. And so it's just nice when you can put them together as you go and then they're not loose everywhere. So now we have that part done. Now in here I've got 2 tags that I cut out, one basic white and one night of navy. Ooh, Lucy just came in here 90 miles an hour. So anyway, you can see I used the embossing folder on the night of navy tag. Let's see here. And what we're going to do is first let's go ahead and stamp and decorate our tag. Actually, you know what? Let's do the inside of the card real quick. Let's get these pieces. Hold that thought, please. Hey. No barking. Oh. I live in a duplex, and I live in the upstairs. My neighbors are in the downstairs, and they use the front yard. We use the back yard. And whenever the neighbor, oh, hang on. Hey, stop. No, you can go outside for a little while. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Anyway, whenever the neighbor takes their dog outside, one of their dogs, they have a couple, Lucy gets really excited and barks at them until they pay attention to her. And the funny thing is she's not barking at the dogs, she's barking at the people, trying to get them to say hello to her. Okay, so I have this little strip of the designer series paper and a little strip of boho blue. And I line this up so that the ends are lined up. Wiggle it around until I've got it positioned where I want it. And then I'm going to put it along the bottom here. Well, actually, it's going to be, when we open our card, it's going to be the side of the card. So that's a little bit different. Okay. So a little bit of glue there. And then I'm going to line this up. Oops. Oh, you guys, I wanted to tell you, I had a talk with my son tonight, and we're thinking about doing something kind of fun next week. Another demonstrator did this once with her husband, and it was a lot of fun to watch. So let me know if this sounds like something that you would enjoy. One of the cards that I'll do next week, I'll design it still, but instead of me making it, I'm going to walk him through making it, and he's going to be the one to make it during the live. What do you guys think of that? Okay, so I've got that done. Let's go ahead and glue it to the inside of our card so we don't just have this piece floating around. My son he's stamped just being silly, but he's never done any, what I would call real stamping, I guess, like this. Oh, hold on, my sound just came back on. So I think it would be a lot of fun to guide him through making a card like this. And he did say, I thought he would say, no way, no way. He said he would not be averse to it. So I said I'd ask everybody tonight what you think of that idea. Okay. Getting lots of people saying they like the idea and they think it sounds fun. So I'm going to tell him, I'm going to say, honey, the people have spoken. Okay, so back to our tag here. First thing we're going to do is very similar to what we just did for the inside of our card. I've got a couple of little strips, one of our designer series paper and one of our boho blue. And I'm going to glue them together, same as I did for the inside of the card. But then we're going to put it on the end of our tag. So just a little glue right there. Sorry, Lucy, I'm not letting you in because you're being a bark machine right now. When I hear that the neighbors have gone inside, then you too can come inside. Okay, so there we go. And yes, these are different lengths, but I know they're both long enough for my tags, so I didn't worry about it. That's called using up your scraps. So now I want to put this right about here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a strip of, or a little line of glue right about where I want to have that strip go. And then we're going to just line it up like so. I have one edge go right to the edge of the tag over here. Get it so that it looks straight. You know what I could do is line it up on my grid paper. And there we go. Now I can believe it's straight without having to fuss with it for an hour. And then I just trimmed off the extra. Now what I want to do is I'm going to layer these two tags together like this. I'm going to line them up right where the holes are. Like that. See about where I want it. So now I'm going to put adhesive crisscross this way and a little bit in this corner. Okay. Get these lined back up right at the circle. And you can have them pulled apart as much as you want, however much of this Night of Navy you want to show. Oh, and you know what? I don't want to do that yet, and I'll show you why. Because we're going to stamp on it. And because this one is embossed, it'll make it kind of tough to stamp. So what I'm going to do, since I already have my adhesive on here, I am using my silicone mat. This is really great because adhesive peels right off of it. So when I lay this down, it's not like it's going to stick to my paper and it's going to come right back up. The message I'm using says thank you, and I'm going to use my boho blue ink. And I'm just going to stamp my message right here. There we go. Cleaning off my stamp. Close the ink pad. I love this boho blue. Boy, it's really dark there. It's not as dark as when I did it. I mean, it's darker than when I did it yesterday. Okay, so next, now we're going to go ahead and line up our two tags. There, like that. See how that came right off of my silicone mat? It's a great tool to have. It's like right around $5 or $6. Very money well spent. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I do want to put some more foam adhesive on the back here. So let's see here. See how I'm going to do this. Because I'm kind of using scraps here like this. I could have just cut from a bigger piece, so I only had to put, you know, one on here. But I want to use up some scraps. So let's see, put one there. No, Miss Barky Barkerson, you can come in when the neighbors go inside so that you don't feel compelled to go to the window and bark. I know, I'm a mean mom, right? Okay. And then I'll put a little piece right there. You know, we're probably okay. I don't think my middle's gonna sag. It might a little, so let's just put a little bit in there. This is probably overkill. I probably would have used less if I just cut a little strip instead of using my scraps, but that's okay. That's okay. So now we just need to peel off these backs. And of course you can use dimensionals. If you don't have the foam adhesive sheets, dimensionals work exactly the same. The only difference is you typically put more of them on there. So not a big deal. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and make this kind of at an angle like that. Now I have this great ribbon. Now I really like this ribbon. It's nice and soft, but I will say it's kind of thick. And so the bow, let's see if you can really see how thick that makes your bow. So this card will either need to be hand delivered or you'll need to put a little bit of extra postage on it just because it is a little bulky. So I start by just tying a nice little bow, and then I start messing with my loops. Get my loops to be right about the size that I want them. This one is still a little big. And let's see. Oh, I know what I did. I did a double bow. That's right. Okay, so I took my little bow jig. This is not a Stampin' Up! Item. You can find bow jigs everywhere. Amazon, whatever. I bought mine from a demonstrator a couple of years ago, knew somebody who was making them, and so I got one that route. I couldn't even tell you anymore who it was, but they're not hard to get. It's just called a bow maker. And what I did is I wrapped it around twice so that I would get a double bow. Pull it nice and tight, which you really want to do with this thicker ribbon, because if you don't, it does come untied pretty easily. So put this away. Oh, Miss Lucy, you are so abused. Okay. And see, I'm pulling my little loops apart. They don't come apart as easily or as far apart as they do when I use like baker's twine. But I still kind of liked the way this ribbon looked as a double bow like that. So get my tails the way I want them. And I wait to trim mine till I have them on my card, because then I have a good idea of about how long I want them to be. Now, because of the bulk of this, I did put a few extra glue dots on my bow, just to make sure that it stays down. So let's see. One probably would have held it, but I just wanted to be sure. And then I put it right over that little dot, that little hole. See, look at that. Isn't that adorable? And now I'm going to trim this. I am using my big scissors to trim just because my my snips are getting a little dull. I need to replace them. I've had them for a few years now, and it's time. They've lived a good life. It's time to let them retire. Okay, so now, last and final step. These are our adhesive-backed solid gems. Let me show you these beauties. I love them. Look at these colors. Lemon Lolly, Boho Blue, and I think this is Copper Clay. Actually, it probably says on here. It does not say on here, but I think that's our Copper Clay. So some really fun colors there. Let's go ahead. I'm going to take these middle-sized dots right there, and we're going to put them on the end of our tag. So I like to start with the one in the middle. I'm doing 3 here, so I'm going to start with the one in the middle, because, whoops, see, and it didn't end up in the middle, because then I can space the other ones accordingly. Okay, that looks middle-ish. Go for ish, not perfection. And put one there, and we'll put one right there. There we go. Got our 3 little dots there. And now this card is complete. Isn't that fun? Pretty card, easy to do. Like I said, it is a little bulky, so you will want to either hand deliver this card or just make sure that you add a little extra postage. Okay, let's put these pieces away and we'll get going on card number 3. Okay, so card number 3. Now for this one, I am using the Cheerful Daisies bundle. I like this one. I think it's fun. It's got some fun sentiments in there. I love the Oops-a-Daisy. And then also my Time Worn Type embossing folder. This has been in the catalog a couple years now, and I'll show it to you in case you haven't seen it before. It's just got this kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's almost like, it's just random texture. And if you look really close, you can see where there are words, but you can't quite, well, I was going to say you can't quite read it, but right there is the word load. So I don't know what it said originally, but the idea is at one time it was something typed that over time the print got faded or smeared, smudged, whatever. But it just gives a really nice neutral texture when that's what you want on your card. And that's what I wanted on my card. Okay, so those are the 3 main products that we're using on this card. Let me show it to you. There's our envelope and the card. And again, this card is using that bright and beautiful designer series paper that I used on the first card. Okay, it sounds like the neighbors went inside, so Lucy can come back in. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on this one. I did do a lot of steps ahead of time on this, and you'll see why. There's a lot of little time-consuming parts that I wanted to just get done ahead of time so that you weren't having to wait on me while I did them. So let's see here. I'm just going through the pieces here. Our card base is a standard card base. 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. I don't know if I've mentioned it during this session or not, but that is also a half of a sheet of cardstock, just cut horizontally. Use my bone folder to get a nice crisp edge. And now we'll do the envelope. 2.5 by 6 inches. And we're going to put a little glue around the edge of the flap. Get some of that dried glue off of there. Oops. Tries to trick me sometimes and make me think glue's not coming out, so that I'll squeeze really hard and then all of a sudden a whole bunch of glue comes out. We've all been there, right? Okay. Let's see. A little in the middle. And line it up so that the top of the paper and the top of the envelope match. And now we trim off the extra. This is such great paper. It always kind of makes me sad when I'm cutting the extra off of the flap of the envelope and I see the back side and think, oh, I really like that. But you know, the nice thing is when you get this pack, you get 4 sheets of each print because it is only 6 by 6. And so it's not like I won't be able to use that other side with some of the paper that I still have left over. Okay, so now our envelope is done. Let's go ahead and do the inside of the card. For the inside of the card, I just have another strip of the designer series paper that we're just going to glue right there on along the bottom of that piece. And you know, you can always stamp a sentiment on the inside of your card, and sometimes I do, but I have big handwriting, and so I do like to try to leave more room to write a handwritten message inside. So I do tend to leave a lot of white space on the inside of my card for that reason. But if you don't particularly like to write a big message, if you stamp something on the inside, then you don't have room to write a big message, and then you don't feel guilty about not doing it. Okay, so got that lined up. Let's trim off the extra here. There we go. And we'll go ahead and glue this to the inside of our card. I lost my adhesive there for a minute. It was hiding under all the pieces for this card. Okay, line it up so that my margins are all relatively the same and the piece is relatively straight. And then we set that aside again to start working on, actually we're going to need this for this first part. So what I did is I have a piece of vellum here that I ran through my cutting and embossing machine with the embossing folder that I showed you guys. So, Kathy was saying that another demonstrator named Jackie, her husband does cards with her every month. That's fun. Oh my gosh, that's funny, Susan. Susan's puppy is barking at Lucy. Okay, let's see. Uh-oh, looks like Sharon's having some trouble tonight. Nell loves her bow maker. You know, when it comes to just like a regular bow, I'm fine just tying them. But I do love how it enables me to make some kind of fun and different bows. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, Teresa, if you go on Pinterest and do a search for the Cheerful Daisies. I always do Stampin' Up first, just to narrow it down. I say Stampin' Up Cheerful Daisies. There's a lot of really fun ideas on there right now. Oh, thank you, Colleen. I really appreciate it. You know, I truly mean it when I say this is my favorite part of the whole week. I really enjoy doing this. Okay, so now I put a little adhesive on the back there. You don't always want to do that with vellum because it shows through, but we're going to be covering up that part anyway, so it's okay. I am trying to center this as best I can on the card front, just like that. So you can see it just gives a little bit of texture there. It's not a specific image or anything like that, so it's pretty easy to work with. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two pieces, basic white, and they are 2 3/4 by 3 3/4, both pieces, the designer series paper and the white. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to offset them a little tiny bit. I want to do this the same way. There we go. Just a little bit. Oops. Well, there we go. And then I'm going to put it on my card like that. Okay, but I'm going to try to center it better. Okay, so a little adhesive on the back. And let's see. I try to make it so that this corner up here and this corner down here have about the same distance to the edge of the card. Same for these corners. Have pretty much the same distance from corner to edge. There we go. So that's on there like that. Now comes the fun stuff. I have a little bit of ribbon here. This is our ribbon that we came out with this spring, and I love it. It's really pretty, and it's why can't I think of the word where it's like a gradient where it starts blue and ends white. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to take our boho blue marker and we're going to color it because I wanted boho blue ribbon. And I could have used the same ribbon that I used on that last card, but and actually, I'm sorry, this is not boho blue. This is Azure Afternoon, and I did not have any ribbon that is Azure Afternoon. So I'm just taking my Stampin' Blend and I am coloring my ribbon. Now you can color your ribbon in a lot of different ways with your ink pads, with our spritzers. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. I prefer to use my Stampin' Blends, and the reason is because they are alcohol based, which means they dry pretty quickly. I do try to remember when I can to color my ribbon early on in the process so that it does still have a little bit of time to dry, but it really doesn't require a whole lot. Now this ribbon doesn't have a whole lot of texture to it. It's pretty smooth. If you have a textured ribbon, it can be kind of hard on your marker, so just be aware of that. Okay, now I'm going to set this aside, let it dry a little bit, and let's get going on our other pieces. So this die is this big one right here where it's got all 3 flowers. And I didn't want to use that particular leaf set, so we're just gonna snip it right off. Like so. And then I'm gonna take, you guys have heard me call them before, my Thanksgiving olive or sponge dauber, whatever you want to call it. Call it a Thanksgiving olive because you put it on your finger like a Thanksgiving olive. And I'm just going to dab a little color, and I want to get a little color on the end there. I want to get a little color on the center here, maybe a little bit darker. And then a little bit on the center here, like that. And then, you know, get some of the extra off, just so that when it's in my little basket, it doesn't get ink all over everything else. And then I have all these little pieces. Now you can see why I did a lot of the die cutting ahead of time. Okay. I've got 5 little leaves. And then I have these other parts of my daisies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these pieces. These pieces go on the daisies, and they just add a little bit of texture to the daisies themselves. Got to get it so that it's lined up properly. Kind of got to play with it a little bit to figure out where it goes. But see how it just adds a little bit of extra something to that daisy by having that extra layer. So we're going to put a little bit of glue on here. Doesn't take a whole lot. I'm just putting a little bit under each section. At least I think I am, but my glue isn't cooperating. It wants me to squeeze hard so that it can throw up all over my flower. Okay, and now I'm just gonna put this on here, line it up, just like that. Now, one thing I have seen some people do is take this bigger die, the one that doesn't have the detail, and they'll cut it out sometimes in an accent color or also in white, and then lay it behind this piece. You got to figure out which way it goes, but it does match up. You just got to take the time to figure out where. But what it does is then it puts solid behind there, giving it a little bit heavier look, which looks really classy. Okay. So now we're just going to put these little extra pieces on all 3 of our daisies. Okay, this one goes upside down. Right there. Look at that. I just really love how this looks. And you can do it with different colors. You can do it with the same color. I just really liked the white on white. I thought it was really nice looking, really crisp. And this one has really skinny little fingers, if you will. So it's hard to just get a little bit of glue on there. The trick is don't lift your applicator off of the paper. That helps a lot. Okay, now we got to figure out how does this one line up exactly. And I think this is where we're at. There. Just like that. And now we're going to go ahead and put this on our card now. Okay, sir, you get out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of the flowers. Again, doesn't take a whole lot. It's one of those little holes from the center that got punched out. And we're just going to it fits perfectly on this little piece of designer series paper, like that. And now we're going to figure out where we want to put our leaves. And you know, this one, the bottom of the leaf got cut off. I don't care, because it's going to be covered up anyway. All right, so let's put one leaf right about there. And we'll put the next leaf over in the kind of the same spot, but we'll cover up that little area that looks a little funky. If you need help lifting it up, just use take your pick tool. I'm gonna put it like that. Well, I kind of want to turn it a little bit more because there we go. There. Let's do a couple more here. I was going to put glue on with my Take Your Pick tool. You know, my Take Your Pick tool, I love it because it does so many different things. It does not put glue on stuff. All right, so let's put that there. Let's do another one here. You know, I think maybe these would be better if they're turned a little bit. There, that's a little bit better. And then we have one last one. Remember, doing things in odd numbers. We're just gonna slide this one under there like that. Look at it coming along. Now I have this little tag. This tag, the die cut is in the same set of dies, so one-stop shopping here. And I'm going to use my Azure Afternoon ink, another one of the new colors. And the stamp I'm using, this particular one says, "Wishing you the brightest birthday." We're just going to line it up. It does fit perfectly in this tag, but you want to make sure you take your time to line it up right. Make sure it's straight-ish. Okay. I think my ink pad's a little inky because it's new. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to put I'm going to put 3 dimensionals on the back. One on that end, one on that end, and one in the middle to keep them from fighting. Okay, so I'm taking the backs off right now. Do that off camera just because my little garbage can is off to the side of my desk. And I think we're going to put that, whoops, we'll put it right side up for starters. And let's put it right about here. I try to do it at an angle that matches the designer series paper because it looks kind of weird if the angle is different. Let's see. Yeah, that looks all right. Well, I think I want to move it over just a little bit though. So how about right about there? There we go. That looks good. And then now we're going to go back to our ribbon, and I crinkle it up just a little bit because the marker kind of makes it a little bit stiff. So it's easier to work with if you kind of bunch it up a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to tie a little bow. I have way more ribbon here than what I need, but you've heard me say it before. If you give yourself permission to waste a little bit of ribbon, you will tie a better bow with more ribbon. It's hard to make a really good bow when you don't have enough ribbon. I kind of twisted that funny, so let's do that again. Oh, Sharon, you're having all sorts of troubles tonight. Okay. Sharon was one of my customers way back when I was a demonstrator 100 years ago. Okay, let's see here. I want to make my loops a little bit smaller. This is kind of twisted a little bit. So I just play with it until it's laying the way I want it to lay. Not gonna let it win. There we go. And again, I'm gonna lay it down and then I will trim it. Is that about the size I want? Looks like this side needs to get just a teeny bit smaller. Okay, so now I'm going to find my glue dots. They're right here. I'm going to put a glue dot right there on the back. This is a very lightweight ribbon, so one glue dot is going to be perfectly sufficient. And I'm going to put it right here in the corner of my tag. And then I will take my scissors and I will trim. It looks like, there we go. This one's a little bit longer, so I'm gonna play that silly game, you know, where you get brave and you trim off a little bit and hope you don't end up playing a game where you do each side over and over again, trying to even them back up. Okay. So one more thing to do here. We've got our 2023 to 25 in color dots. It's got all 5 of the new in colors, and we're going to use this one right here, which is called wheat something. Wild wheat? Yes, wild wheat. But I liked how it looked with this. I used Cajun Craze to do the centers of my flowers, but I liked how it looked. So we're just going to go ahead and use it here. They're nice and shiny and sparkly. You know I like sparkle. So I used one of the big ones and a medium-sized one, and then I'm going to take another one of the medium-sized ones. No, I think I'm going to use a big one. Put another big one right up there. And card number 3. What do you guys think? Okay, I'm going to clean up my mess here. We'll take a look at all 3 cards. So if you guys had as much fun as I did tonight, enjoyed what we did, I would love it if you'd give me some hearts, some thumbs up, all that good stuff that strokes my ego. But it also tells the Facebook and YouTube algorithms, hey, this is something people liked. Maybe other people would like it too. And they put it out there as a suggestion for more people to watch. And that helps me grow my business. So I really appreciate it when you do that. Also, ombre, that's the word I was looking for earlier, Robin. But it also helps me if you share the video. You never know who in your feed might also enjoy this. And it helps me out. It just exposes me to more people. So if you do that, that's lovely. If you don't follow me yet on YouTube, head on over there and look up Stamp Happenings, and you can subscribe. And then you can also click on the little bell, and it tells you, if you click on the bell, it'll tell you whenever I upload new videos. And remember, if you watch on YouTube and you make comments over there, that still counts toward the drawing that I do during the next Facebook Live. Okay, so cleaning up my mess a little bit. Let's take a peek at what kind of damage we did tonight. But it was fun damage, right? So we had this beautiful card with the cheerful daisies. We had this one with our Countryside Inn was the name of that designer series paper. And then this one with our bold and beautiful designer series paper, our sparkly. This just looks like a princess card to me. And, you know, I might have a little bit of a princess complex, which, by the way, we have this amazing new stamp set. I got to show it to you because I just love it. It's crowns. See if I can find it here really quickly, because I want you to see it. Because, you know, I might have ordered it. Friendship Royalty is what it's called. Look at that. Isn't that just spectacular? Look at those little crowns. I can't wait to do something sparkly with this set. And yes, like I said, I may have ordered it. Speaking of ordering, if you would like to order any of the supplies that I used tonight or any of the other fun new things that are in the catalog, I would love to earn your business. If you would head on over to heathersides.stampinup.net, you can order from my online shop. If you place an order under $150, it would help me a lot if you would use this host code. This is what helps me continue to provide these free videos, prizes, things like that. But if your order is over $150, please do not use the code. You will have some free gifts coming to you from Stampin' Up, and I want to make sure that you are the one who receives them. As always, if you have questions, concerns, ideas, things you want to see, anything like that, you're free to contact me at stamphappenings@gmail.com or here in a private message on Facebook. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Bye-bye, everybody.